This episode is sponsored by Druid City Games.
It's time for the Salt and Sass podcast, when we share our love for the wonderful world of board games with you, whether you're a gaming veteran or just starting your tabletop journey. Welcome to episode 43. I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Mandi.
Welcome back, everybody. Heyo, apologies for being late. Thank you for sticking with us and listening a little bit later than usual. I am fully blaming you, Mandi.
I know.
Because you were at a little gaming convention and it disrupted our recording schedule. So while I am happy for you, I am thoroughly 100% blaming you.
Sorry.
But that's okay, because that means you probably got to play a ton of games that we get to hear about. So I am happy about that.
Oh my gosh, me too. So many games that I want to share. Some of them are games that are coming out soon, but guess what? I wanted you all to hear about it, and I cleared it. They're okay to talk about, so you can keep your eyes peeled. So I'm just going to jump in, if that's okay, Suze, because there's a lot to talk about.
I love it. Yeah, I think that we should just let folks know that because we're a little bit late and because we've been a little bit, all over the place, I think let's talk about the gathering. We'll talk about a few of our normal things. Like, I've got a campaign I want to highlight. But I don't think, Mandi, I think we're going to withhold dessert this episode. For the first time
I know.
in a long time, we're going to not serve up a game pie this episode. We'll push it to next episode. So apologies, folks, there. But I want to make space for this chitter chatter. I want to hear all the goodies.
Yes, but the next one will be amazing. So looking forward to that. But let me jump in, because there's a lot.
Yes.
And I definitely want you all to hear all the things. So, played lots of games, some that people are like, oh yeah, I know this game, very familiar with, and we'll talk about that. But then I played a lot of new things, and I even visited somewhere that I had not visited before. So I'm going to start off right off the bat with a game that was probably I played closer to the end of the convention, and it was called Shackleton Base: A Journey to the Moon. And this is is designed by Fabio Lopiano and Nestore Mangone. Art is by David Sidbon, and it's published by Sorry We Are French. So this is not out yet. It's coming. I should have probably got an exact date for you, but keep an eye on it for the next within the next couple of months. It possibly might be showing at Essen. I believe that's when it'll show. So look for that time frame to check that out. And if you're familiar with Fabio is lovely. We got to spend some time together at this convention. And Fabio has played or designed a lot of games that I realize I've played. Like
really
literally
great designer. Yeah.
all of his games, like Merv, Sancore, there was Kalimala. There's quite a few on that list. So, of course, when he asked if we wanted to play, I was like, yes, please. So it was really nice. And shout out to Fel and Mandi, yes, another Mandi, for playing with me. We all had a really good time and really, really enjoyed the game. So just like a quick overview. It's one of those games where you've got a lot of kind of areas that you can score points in. And, okay, I'm going to say this, and I don't want to hear it. It is a space exploration themed game, if you didn't figure that out.
But and you liked it, Mandi?
I liked it. I just didn't really look at the theme. Okay. I mean, the little astronaut meeples were very cute, so I mean, I guess it was kind of hard to ignore, but I was into it. And so what's happening in the game is where a base is being built at the Shackleton crater at the moon's south pole. So that's like kind of the background of what's happening. And in the game, we represent like a different kind of country, and in representing that country, like you have an ability or things that you can use within the game. And there's the center of the board, which is the moon, where you're going to be making some buildings that you have, and there are buildings of different sizes. But then there are little tokens that go out depending on where you're placing meeples. You can either get certain types of resources, or depending on how your buildings are, you may have to pay someone to, use that kind of line to say, I want this resource, this resource, this resource. So getting those buildings out is really important. Different colored meeples mean different things. Could be getting you money, could be getting you those resources. You also have kind of contract cards in a different area that you're trying to complete, and each kind of area of contract does something different. Sometimes it's a tile that requires a certain type of resource for you to complete, or another area, which I really focused on, was just having, certain configurations of buildings or things like that. There's like another track that you definitely wanted to push up on, and it's almost similar to like an influence type track that you wanted to, because then it doubled or, made sure that you got extra points when you were scoring those kind of contracts. And I think the game happens over like 3 rounds or 3 like kind of phases, and certain objectives and goodies get better as each ground progresses. And it definitely is one of those games where someone could really cut you off of doing something based on where you're building. Or you have certain objectives you're trying to meet, or your player board, you're trying to get those buildings out to get points to score when you have that income phase, things like that. So that was just like a super fast description of the game. I only played it the one time, but I am very, very much looking forward to Shackleton Base, A Journey to the Moon. Really enjoyed it. And I think you will really like it as well. Aside from the space theme, sorry, it was rather good.
It sounds great. I really like Fabio's previous designs. He tends to come up with a mechanism that just sparkles for me, so I'm super excited.
Yes, and I mean, we expected him to take away the win, but he was a gracious teacher and did not win. I think I might have won, actually, shockingly.
Noted.
I feel, though, that, Fabio might have, was concentrating on teaching us the game. So we're going to go with that because they 100% would have kicked our butts. But Shackleton Base, really good. Look for that when it comes out because I'm looking forward to grabbing a copy when that is available. Some other games that I played, another one was called Nature. So are you familiar with Evolution or that kind of series or world of games, Evolution?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think a few other people are. I think Evolution Climate, there are a few in that world, and it's a type of game where, you have species and you're trying to sustain them based on abilities they have or, making sure they're fed, and that kind of carries into nature. And we only played one of the kind of scenarios, but they have different boxes that are available, like a Jurassic kind of world, where it's like looking at more like dinosaur type or prehistoric type creatures. So there are different types of creatures that can be kind of put into the game, but you're still doing a similar type of mechanic where you're trying to make sure that they're fed, making sure that you're making a system where the animals that you're using kind of all work together because it can affect other players. You have animals that are more carnivorous and can potentially go after food from other players. So there's a bit of that, kind of take that element in that regard. So that's where that interaction comes to play. So that was Nature. That's coming to Kickstarter. I believe the page is up. I don't think it's like publicized, like you can just go and check out the page, but I believe that's coming to Kickstarter relatively soon. So if you like Evolution or looking for a more, I think accessible, like approachable way to get into it, I feel like this one will be a bit easier because I did find Evolution when I first played it. It took me a minute to like wrap my head around it. It's not a super difficult game, but I did find my brain was like, okay, I just gotta get into how this works, and I do find it a bit more approachable in the Nature game that's coming out. So definitely more kind of geared toward that family friendly, or just maybe newer players or players who want something that's just easier to wrap their head around. So Nature coming to Kickstarter in the world of Evolution. That's not the official title. I'm just giving a background. That was fun, and I really enjoyed that. So that I did receive a review copy, so I hope to play that some more, and I'll have more details for you soon.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think that one's really good. And another game that I want to highlight is from Druid City Games, who sponsors our podcast, which I thought was lovely. And so James, who is our sponsor, showed us the game called Mad Kala. And I have to, so like Moncala, like,
I'm jealous that you got to play this. Man.
It's so good. Like, I really enjoyed it. And these are not normally the type of games that I would go toward, and it's because it's 2-player. I have a hard time getting 2-player games played, but the art, super cute, because it's art is Mandi Tremblay, who I think has done a lot of the other art on some of their other games.
Such a great artist, yeah.
Yeah, so it has, I think it's part of that whole Winterland War world, which I have not played, but I know that game's really popular, and I know you and I were talking about that offline before that. It looks
Wonderland's
really good.
War, yeah.
Sorry, Wonderland's War. I'm sorry.
It's all good. No, you're talking about a lot of stuff. It's all good.
Tired, everybody, but sorry, Wonderland's War. And I have it right in front of me. I don't know why I said that funny, but it has like a what was I gonna say? So it was like this one has like Alice in Wonderland theming to it. So, I'm really big into that, so I love it. Cheshire Cat is my favorite. So this is one of those games where it's like a 1v1 asymmetric game. So you're playing against someone, but it uses that Moncala design where you're, picking up some pieces and then dropping pieces as you go based on what you have in your hand, and wherever you end up is the action that you can take. And then you also have cards that can kind of boost or potentially, assist your action that you're doing. And definitely has a lot of interaction because you can end up on the other side of the board, which is technically the other player's side, and they have cards that can kind of either remove some of your pieces or make it more challenging for you to like attack them, because the whole goal is to take them out. And it's a short game, 2 players. Had a lot of fun. This is coming soon. I don't think I have an exact date on this one, but I just wanted to mention it because I know Wonderland's War was very popular and a lot of people really enjoyed it. So that is Madkala, definitely coming out this year. I think a lot of people really enjoy this one as well.
It sounds really cool. Ugh.
Yeah, so I think you'll like it, Suze. I definitely think this is in your wheelhouse for
very
sure.
much so. Totally, yeah.
So that's it for games. I played a lot of games, but those were like the newer games that I played. I unfortunately didn't have a chance to try Nucleum. There was an expansion, I think, that was being shown. Unfortunately, I just didn't have a chance to try that because I really enjoyed Nucleum, but maybe next time when it comes out. So that's probably going to be a release coming soon. But I did, very excited to run a game of Forgotten Waters. I was able to run that with a group of 7. So we played the full player count. I don't know if anybody's ever played that game, but it comes with an app and you're pirates sailing the seas. And
I love Forgotten Waters. I've never played with 7 though. Wow.
Oh, 7's great because then everybody has a role. You don't have to double up. Everybody has a role.
Nice.
So it was so smooth and really good. We didn't play a full scenario because it takes like a good 6 hours to play like a full scenario. So we played like half. With the app, the voice acting in that is amazing. Like so many laughs, just hilarious. And everybody had a really good time because nobody had played it. I think it was me. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Matthew, who I also gamed there as well. He had played it and I had played it, but nobody else had. So I just decided to run it for everybody, and we had a really good time. So if you like kind of like RPG, the app assist is nice for the voices, but you could read it out too. Super fun. You should try it if you haven't. I really enjoy it. And we also got to play our annual, and I say women's play. We do a really big game, and there's a group of us. So shout out to Shannon, Erica, and Mandi, the other Mandi. And Candace usually joins us, but Candace is on BGG. She couldn't join us this year. But we did Too Many Bones Unbreakable. So this is a game that I know. So I taught, we all played, we won. And this is a game that we'll probably do again next year, revisiting our same characters, so we'll be even stronger, but in a different scenario. So excited, and I got to teach that twice actually, but that one was super, super fun, and it's an annual thing that we do. So I was really happy that we got to do that.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It's just to show that, you can play anything. And we've definitely had, Shannon, this was her first time doing it with us. And I know it wasn't like generally the type of game she would normally play, but just being around really fun people. And I think the win really made her really excited. And she's a game designer, so she could figure out games really, really quickly. Just has a good mind for that. And the last thing, so I'm just babbling at this point, is
not at all. This is awesome. I love and all of these are games that I haven't peeked at or anything. So now, unfortunately, you're just making my wish list really long. But
I know.
I love hearing about them.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone's not totally bored, but hopefully there's something that caught your ear here. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is game related, but it's not a game. Every time I go to this convention, I've never visited the Strong National Museum of Play. And it's basically a museum that it's games, and there are some toys, and I had never visited it. And I know, Suzanne, you did a feature not too long ago on A&E, and I think they were also featured on A&E. So this is what was that special you did? It was the
Right, the Toys That Built America. I was on a couple episodes of that, yeah.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen those, you should check those out. Suzanne did a very good job. And also, the Strong National Museum of Play has also made appearances and also consulted on that show as well. And it would make sense, seeing that when you go there, like they have so many huge sections that give you like history and background into some video gaming, tabletop gaming, toys, and it goes back to like super, super old toys. Memories were rushing back when I'm like, oh my gosh, Popples. I remember those from the 80s. Or, it just starts sparking.
Oh my gosh, Popples. Oh!
Or Glowworm.
Wow.
Come on, Glowworm.
Yes. Oh, wow.
It's just so
fun.
Cool. So those are just some of the toys that just brought me back to childhood. But then they also had the Barbie section. Barbie has come a long way. Let's just put it that way. Not because of the movie. Just, I remember when pregnant, there was a Barbie that was pregnant, and that was El Scandalo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and now you just see all types of Barbies, different shapes. Oh, I even saw one. I was like, this one kind of looks like me. I know that's a thing, but legit, this one I was like, this is me. I love it. She had like colored hair. She had like my body type, my skin color. I'm like, I want this. So it's really nice seeing that representation with Barbie and how things have changed in the history of Barbie. I was into it. So that one really made me happy. And then the board gaming stuff, we got to look at some of the history behind, some games like Jenga that we all know really well, and Monopoly. Like, we got to see some different boards of Monopoly from different countries and, some of the history behind that. And I know not everyone's a big fan of it, but I like to know the history behind some of these games. D&D, we got to see some like dice that were like literally dice that were like someone made specifically for like, the earlier set of D&D, and some of the people that were families of some of the creators and whatnot donated these to the museum.
Yeah,
so.
I mean those old school ones, right, where you had to color in the numbers yourself with crayons and things like that.
Exactly. So I just thought that was really cool, and anybody who's definitely in the Niagara area should definitely check it out. I had a great time, and we got a little like a personal tour because my friend Mandi was doing an interview there for some video game and board game related things. So the curator that was there took some time to take us around a little bit. So we really appreciated that. And I forgot one last thing. I'm sorry, everybody. I can't believe I said this. I missed it. I said no more game stuff, but this is the last one. James.
No, it's fine.
James Hudson, who sponsors our podcast, Drew City Games. We have a little dinner. We all go to the Olive Garden. Yes, I know. We don't have them in Canada anymore, so we try to make this a thing every year. And while there, James showed me the game Nana. I don't know if you've played this, Suzanne?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've played it. Okay, so I don't love memory games, and I was really bad at this one, as everyone can attest to. This is one of those games where, you have a number, and you have certain numbers in your hand, but you have to arrange them from, like, lowest to highest, and you could only play from the ends of your hand, I think it is, but you're trying to find the number that matches the card that you're potentially going to play, because you don't have to play it first. You can ask so-and-so, what's your lowest card, and then try to find the matching card either in a display that exists or a card in your hand, and I think you have to find it in 3 places, if I'm not mistaken. Literally, I could, like, turn over a card, and my turn would come back around, and I'd turn over the same card. I'm like, oh, wait, that's not the number I was looking for. But it played super fast and quick, and at the restaurant, I thought it was great. Everyone had a good laugh. I really enjoyed it. This is a game from a publisher, I think, that's not within America. I didn't know
it's from Japan, yeah.
Okay, yes, it's a Japanese game.
Or Taiwan. Oh, shoot. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, we can verify. But yes, it is a game that's not published in North America. But thanks, James, for showing that. We had a really good time, even though I'm not into memory games. I enjoyed it. And I didn't know you had played it, Suzanne.
Yeah, well, I have Nana Christmas. So they have a Nana, and then they have Nana Christmas. And just to call out that Nana was actually, re-themed or whatever. So it is actually a game called Trio. That is available more widely.
Got
it.
If
you see a game with a bright yellow box called Trio, it's the same game.
See, and this is why I go to Suzanne, because she knows these things that I don't. So there you go. So that was a lot. I just wanted to give a little taste of what I was doing and give you all the, the 411, the heads up on some of the new stuff that's coming out. So if it interests you, you can check it out. So yeah, hopefully that sparked something for everybody.
Oh my gosh. Well, Shackleton Base, instant wish list. That sounds amazing. And I'm definitely, you said popples, and my little heart just went, oh, popples.
Right.
I remember you little flip them inside out,
right?
And they were little balls, and they're so cute. Yeah, so
exactly.
It sounds like you had a great time. I'm so glad you had a good time, even though it totally disrupted our recording schedule.
Sorry, everybody, but it was worth it. Come on, hashtag worth it.
No, totally worth it. And it's one of those things, even listening, because, of course, we were chit-chatting before the recording, and I was talking about this on social media because while you were gone, Mandi, I had 2 rather significant game days at my home over the weekend, and I played a ton of games with good friends.
Nice.
And I could have had more. Like, I just don't get tired of playing games, but it's not always. Conventions are such a great concentrated space for you to really dig in and get a ton of games played. So I'm really glad that you got to do all that. And I don't know if you played, it sounds like, again, when we were talking earlier, you played some older games, which is lovely. But I love hearing all these sneak previews, and hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about some of the older games that you played as well in future episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because a game isn't new hotness.
Yeah.
As we all know, doesn't mean it's not great. Well, Awesome. Speaking of games that you can't play yet, even though we're skipping Game Pie, I do want to highlight a few games on crowdfunding platforms because a lot of times it's the best and easiest way to get these games nowadays.
Absolutely.
So we want to highlight them while we got that chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mandi, do you have a game on your crowdfunding or do you want me to just dig in?
No, I do actually have one. Not that you haven't heard me talk enough. I'm going to talk some more about it.
Never too much. Never too much.
I did find a game. It just caught my eye because I already enjoy one of the games from this company, and it is Project L Square One. So this is by Board
I'm
Cubator.
backing this. Good choice. I'm backing it.
I have it on the like list because I was like, gosh, I
so
really
fun.
don't need to be backing anything else. But now that you've said that, I feel less bad about it and probably will back it, question mark. But you can find this on Kickstarter. It ends on Thursday, May the 2nd. And the initial base pledge for this is 66 Canadian. And then I think you can add the expansion, which is like an additional 8 Canadian. But I think if you backed their previous campaigns, I have done before, I think you can get the expansion for free. So please make sure to check that out. If you have backed one of their projects, I believe you can get the expansion for free. So just take a look at that.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you didn't know that, Suzanne, you better take a little peeky there.
Well, I've already backed it, so I'll just have to double check that all my settings are correct.
Yeah, because then you would pick a different pledge. That's why. So don't add it on. So Square One, they classify it as a fast-paced engine-building strategy game, and it plays 1 to 4 players. Yay, because this game plays really well solo. I swear that's a phrase I never thought I would be saying as much as I do these days, but it plays well solo. There you go. And it is one of those games where it's very much like family approachable, like it's very straightforward and easy rules, but does take some time to kind of get those points, like to master how it works. But the game itself is actually pretty straightforward to learn when you're learning it for the first time. It is another one of those games with combos, so it looks like it has the similar type of cards, not the same, like similar pieces, but using kind of smaller squares, multicolored. It does look like something where you're trying to build an engine or try to complete certain types of cards based on acquiring the pieces that you need. So it definitely still falls into a similar world as the last game. So it definitely has those recessed boards where it's looking for specific pieces, and this is where you're gonna have to try and fill these out in order to get the pieces you require to complete the card. So I think it's falling into a very similar type of game as the original Project L with some minor differences. So for me, Square One, I mean, I say Instaback, I liked it, but now that Suzanne did it, I'm going to be a follower and back it too. And so if you can grab it, great. I know it's funny. Board Cubator was kind of like on the way out for a minute.
Right. Yep.
So they must have found a way
I don't know what happened there, but hey.
Yeah, they found a way to hang on, and I think it's because the resurgence of Project L, which is a really popular game, must have kept them in the loop, and they were able to come out now with Square One. So Project L Square One on Kickstarter. You have until Thursday, May the 2nd. Check it out.
Yeah, and that's a good call out. I mean, I think, always backers do your research.
Yes.
There's no reason to think Board Cubator isn't going to fulfill on the project or anything like that.
No,
but, it is tough, and I see lots of people talk about Mythic games and Sandy Peterson games and all this other stuff. But, larger campaigns for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's not a promise. It's not a promise. So.
Yep, you got it.
But I am in on this one because there's just sometimes, Mandi, you love big, heavy games, of course. But sometimes that's not the mood. That's not the moment. And Project L is just so satisfying. Like, just the pieces feel good. And it just,
absolutely,
it's fun,
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, Square One looks really fun. I like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly highlight an expansion campaign, but you can get the base game if you missed out on it, if you're so inclined. And this is Black Sonata. Ooh. And the expansion is Strange Shadows. And this is on Kickstarter right now. The campaign ends May 16th. Black Sonata is a unique board game because it is a solitaire deduction game.
Oh.
And Black Sonata's been out for years. I really enjoy it. It's being published by Side Room Games, which kind of specializes in solo-only games. And they've got a lineup now. So Orchard, Mandi, which I think you've played.
I backed it, actually, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Orchard's in their thing. There's a game called McKee, which is a solo worker placement game that I absolutely adore, that kind of thing. Black Sonata is another one of their projects, solo deduction game. It is quite clever, very, very enjoyable. And there's already one expansion. So this is a new Strange Shadows is the second expansion for it, but you can get the base game and the first expansion if you want to. The game is, I think, $25, and the expansion is just $15 if you already own it. And basically, they use a really clever mechanism with cards with holes so that you can ask questions and then find out the answers and get clues and things like that. Thematically, it's all about Shakespeare and the mysterious dark lady of Shakespeare's sonnets. So you're trying to figure out who the dark lady is. The game's really expanded. It's introduced all sorts of different elements and options, like micro expansions, like the ferryman or blazonry in this one, that kind of thing. But at its heart, really solid solo deduction game, very clever with its use of components, small box. I definitely recommend it. I think I reviewed it years and years ago. I definitely recommend Black Sonata if you're into solo games or you like deduction games. And hey, now you can get the game. You can get the expansions. Bob's your uncle. It's a huge recommend for me. I'm in on it. I hope you are too.
Sounds good. I don't think I've ever played it. I remember you talking about it, but it's one that I'll definitely check out. I know I'm on this solo kick, but like I said, if it's a solo game where I don't have to carry or play double-handed or play another player, I'm down.
Yeah, I get that. All right, Mandy, I know you talked about a bunch of games, but I know you have more games to talk about, including ones that you were playing at your convention. I've got a game I've been playing I want to talk about too. Ooh. So why don't we chit-chat about a few more? In our board game podcast, we can never have too much board game chat, right?
Exactly. Never. So
let's get to it.
All right. Suzanne has mentioned, well, you gathered that from the first part of the podcast, I played a lot of games when I was away. A lot of older games and a lot of games that were new. And I also had some games that I backed and I just hadn't gotten to the table. And I'm like, we're playing them. And one of the games was Ostia. Now, this might sound familiar because Suzanne mentioned it, I believe, on the last podcast, because I think she had talked about...
It was a campaign to highlight, I think, yeah.
Right, the expansion, which I also backed and Suzanne backed. So I figured let's talk about the game. And it had been sitting on my shelf for a little while, and I really wanted to get it played. So Ostia, designed by Tatsuka Chuo. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. I 100% did. Artist is Tatsuki Asano and Urabe Rasinante. And published by, is it Yukabakoya or Uchibakoya?
Uchi. I think
Uchi?
It's usually CH is like the ch sound.
It is? Okay, so Uchibakoya. Yeah. So there we go. I will confirm that for next time, but I think that is correct. It plays 1 to 4 players in about, it says 80 to 150 minutes. That's give or take, obviously. You might want to know how much this costs. Well, this is tricky because it was not available at retail at the time of purchase, but in this past Kickstarter, they will be offering it at retail. So if you didn't get it on that Kickstarter, no problem. It should be coming to retail. If you do, I think they have late pledge. But it wasn't, it was definitely on the expensive side. I believe it cost me it was over $100, probably closer to the $120, $130 mark because of the shipping, which was probably on the higher side. So look for it coming to retail probably next year with the expansion, but you're looking at the probably closer to the $150 mark for that and possibly the expansion. So Ostia is labeled as a strategy game, and it's great because you can play it, like I said, 1 to 4 players. So there you go. You can play some solo. And you're exploring the ocean with your fleet of ships. And yes, I know all the ships have different names. For my purposes today, we're just going to get through the explanation, and I'm going to say little ship or big ship to differentiate. I'm sorry. That's just how that's going to go. And some people are very technical and have very good memories. I do not, so I will do my best. And you're exploring the ocean, trading, developing ports, and this game uses the Mancala system. So I talked about it earlier, and this is a type of game where, if you have a spot that has pieces, you're going to pick up all those pieces, let's say you have 4 pieces, and then you're going to drop them going forward in a clockwise order, dropping 1 piece on each space ahead of it, and wherever you end up, that's the action that you're going to take, so in that space. And this game runs the very same system. So in the game, you're going to have a main player board, and this is where you're going to have buildings that you can obviously build. And you're going to have your little ship, which is going to take different paths, because at the end of this board, there are objectives you're trying to reach. And this is one of the game enders, actually, is if someone has 3 boats that hit 3 different objectives, that is, a way to end the game. Equal number of turns, and the game will end. So that's one way that the game can end. Another way is when all of your ships are out, or all of your buildings have been built. So there are a few ways to trigger that. So the main board is where you're going to be trying to put out your ships to get as many of those objectives as you can before the game ends, and taking different paths and buildings to get there. Then you're going to have your player board, and that's where that's where a lot of the action happens, if not most of it. And that's where you're going to be using that Mancala system that I was talking about. It's kind of separated out in the main board where you have like slices. It almost looks like a pie, you could say. And this is where all your boats are going to be. Yeah, exactly. A pie in the ocean. Yeah, that could work. And this is where all your ships are going to be situated. And there's a starting configuration that's slightly different for each player, but you will have some ships that are kind of situated in each of the spaces to start. And this is going to include ways to move your ship on the main board, how to make buildings, how to create more ships, how to get money, these sorts of things. Then on the side of the board, you're going to have where your ships are sitting. And remember I talked to you, there's little ships and there are big ships. There's a difference in this game. And then you have buildings. And this matters with the ships because getting the big ships on the board allows you to take a smaller ship and put it out on the main board. That's how we get more of those objectives. That was tricky, though, because your ships have to be past a certain point on the board before you can pull out another ship. I was like, the frustration. How many times had I had wasted actions because I didn't plan accordingly? So yeah, that's on me, by the way. Just saying. But that was just something to consider. And then there's another track that's almost, it's not an influence track, but it's another track that matters for scoring because it's like a multiplier. So the higher you get on these tracks, the more your ships that are out will be worth, the more your buildings that are out will be worth. And oh my goodness, what are they called? They look like little bottles with like arms. Amphora? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, amphora.
Amphora. Okay, thank you. I'm like, okay, see, I remembered something. Okay,
because I haven't played this, so I don't know. But yeah, I know what you're saying in that.
Thank you. And for those who can't see what I'm doing, I literally was kind of sat in my chair a little taller, put my hands on my hips, like how the little handles look on the amphora bottles. That's Suzanne Goddess. I digress, but it was very amusing.
Kind of look like you're doing the "I'm a little teapot" song.
It does. Kind of looks like that. Anyway, so those tracks are going to be. You want to try and get high on those tracks as multipliers for the end of the game. Trying to accumulate those are really good. And then you have other objective cards that are just straight up 12 points. If you meet the criteria, take an action to get those cards. And then there are other cards that are part of another action where, again, if you meet the criteria, in this case, it's having a certain amount of amphoras. Then you can take those and get a resource that's on that card, and those go towards set collection. That happens, that is scored at the end of the game. So literally the game runs where you have your board, doing the Mancala, like I was telling you, picking up a ship from a certain space. Wherever you pick it up, you get income for that space. So if you're picking up from a space that has wood, like it's a building space, then you're going to get wood based on how many ships that you are picking up there. And then you, in clockwise order, drop one ship off. Wherever you end up, you take that action. And like I said, there are different ones. Building your ships, building your buildings, getting these cards for your set collection, and so forth. Or running your buildings. You have several buildings on the main board, running those buildings. And then when you actually build the buildings, they come to your player board, and you get little discounts or additional income depending on where they are placed. So that's literally the game in a nutshell. When you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, it's not that much, but oh my goodness. Getting that strategy is so important because there were so many times that I had wasted actions because I didn't calculate it properly, or I didn't drop something. This should have been here. Or when I brought a ship on the board, I was like, I should have placed it here instead of here. So there's a lot of counting and making sure things end up in the right place so you can plan for the next turn. And wasted actions, you're kind of punished a little bit because you're like, had I not wasted 3 actions, do you know what I mean? Might have been able to do something sooner, like getting those cards before somebody else got them, for example, for those 12 points. And like I said, the game ended based on 3 ships on those objectives. So 3 different objectives, getting all your buildings built and all your ships built, and then it's equal number of turns. And it matters. Trying to get some of these buildings are important because they can also help with your endgame scoring, and getting those objectives also give you additional points for endgame scoring. I really liked this game. I'll be honest with you, it sat on my shelf for so long, and it wasn't because I didn't want to play it. It's just I had so many other games to play that, I get games for review. We're very open about that. But this is one that I actually purchased. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make time to play a game that I want to play. And I'm glad we did. My game group loved it. Came with expansions, which is like a whole other board that you can do for trading. We haven't played with that part yet. That'll be like the next thing. But I really like the Mancala. So if you're familiar with Trajan or Trajan, I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. I call it Trajan, but It's very similar feeling to that. It's not the same game, but it definitely has that vibe. And I think they even say that in the description. So if you like that type of game, 100%, I think you're going to enjoy this. The art on this is very pretty. I personally really like the use of color in this game because it has some vibrancy on the cover with the greens and the blues, but then there are soft colors for the boats and some of the component pieces. So I really appreciated that as well. It's just one of those games that are just really smart, makes you think. Not super, super difficult. Yeah, there's a few rules to go through. Just really maximizing those actions, and you can still do well, but it really makes you like frustrated. You're like, I wasted actions, and it just makes you want to play it again so you can just do better for next time or try a different strategy. And the buildings and things that come out, it's different every time, right? Because they have a stack of them so you can mix those up. Starting buildings are the same, but some of the other ones are different, or just where they're placed on the board are different. So that might change the way you approach things. I mean, I've played other games from this company before, and I know you have too as well, Suzanne. Yeah. And they're always very well done, very smart, very nice, clean art. I really enjoy it. So that sounds like something that appeals to you. And like I said, if you're familiar with Trajan and you liked it, or even if you're not, and it just sounds like a cool thing, I really think if you're able to get your hands on it, that you should try Ostia.
I love it. I'm so excited. I long story long, right? I think it told a little bit about. I kept on missing on backing it. I'm in on this most recent campaign, and I'm so excited to get it. Plus, it's got little pirate ships in the new one. Right. So cute.
Very true.
Well, I wanted to highlight a new game that I have been playing. I guess it's new-ish. I don't know. It's part of a series that I am absolutely a fan of, and that's the 19XX series from Lupin Games.
Nice.
And one of the more recent titles in that series is 1902 Melies. This is designed by Eloy Pujadas and Farron Renalius, and we have illustrations, as always, by Pedro Soto. And they're hard to get in North America, Mandy. That's the first thing that's frustrating to me, is I love this series of games, and I want them to get more attention, but they're hard to get in North America.
Right.
So, but you can order a lot of them on the BoardGameGeek.com store for what it's worth if you're in North America. So keep that in mind.
Good to know.
All right. So the 19XX series is a small box series. Like they're 7 inches by like 5 inches box. They're real small boxes, but they always pack a punch, and they are always historically based. So another favorite of mine is 1987 Channel Tunnel. I also, in this order, I got 1902, and then I also got 1998 ISS, the space station one. I haven't played that one yet, though.
Okay.
So always historically based. And here we have 1902 Melies, which is about Georges Méliès, who was a director, essentially, who filmed A Trip to the Moon, which is an iconic, classic film in 1902 of all time periods. Nice. And a lot of people, you will know it because there's this famous image of a cartoonish, like, moon face with a big, like, telescope through its eye. Mm-hmm. That's the classic image from it. That's what it's from, is a trip to the moon. And it was colorized and all this other stuff by hand. And the rule book just has fabulous historical details included, which I think is great. But here we have 1902 Melies, which is essentially worker placement in this small box, all about being the assistant directors trying to help make this film. And so you have 9 actions, and they're spread out between pre-production, filming, and post-production of a movie. Very thematic. Mm-hmm. You have a bunch of cards. Each card represents a scene from the film, and it uses the imagery that's very similar.
Right.
And you're going to basically be gathering these scenes, trying to produce these scenes, essentially, get them out, help get them in the right order, and score points accordingly. There's a lot more going on in terms of other details. There's a journal track that can get you special abilities. There's special effects cards. There's share cards, all this other stuff. But basically, you're going to go out, take a worker placement, place one of your workers out, and maybe that gets you a special effect card. Or maybe that lets you change the set location, because the set location has to match the scene card. Or maybe you're moving the actors on the stage part of the thing, where you have little tokens for the actors, and you're trying to position them to get points and that kind of thing. You're going to place your worker, take the action, cool. Next turn. there is a little bumping mechanism here. So you're never blocked from a space. If you want to take an action, but Mandy's pawn is already there, you can just go in and put your pawn there. You bump Mandy's pawn out, and she gets it back to place it again. Because when you have no more pawns, you must take one of your turns to reclaim all of your pawns from the board. So it's a wasted turn. So you actually want to be bumped, because then you get your pawn back and you just continue to take actions. Really like that mechanism overall. As you are getting the requirements necessary for scenes, claiming them, getting them out, putting them in sequence, there's a lot of nuance. In the old school, when they were splicing scenes together, they literally would use like an adhesive tape to connect scenes, right? This is physical film. So there's an element there where you have to match tape pieces when you're lining up your scenes. And at the end of the game, you're going to score points for the sequences that you've got out there and for how many scenes you contributed. There are other points for some shares and things like that you're going to earn along the way as well. 1902 Melies is definitely in the running for one of my favorites in this series. It feels thematic. I love the setting. I love the visuals. I really like all the elements of the game. And it's one that, as you played the first time, everybody was warm on it. But I saw elements, and then the next time I played, I started being much more strategic. There's a sequence, there's an order of operation for the sequences, for the film pieces that you need to get. And I started looking, okay, these are the pieces that are available. These are the ones that are already out. This is the one I should target. But if I target that one, then I don't get this bonus over here. So I'll wait and I'll try to get this one there. Once you played it and you got a feel for the flow of the game, I felt like I was getting to make much more strategic, thoughtful choices, which I thought was great. So the game grew even richer as I was playing it more and more. So I've played it 3 times now, at 4 and at 3 players, and I really like it at both player counts. There's a little tug of war in the set location where you're moving this piece to identify what set you're on. Gets a little like push and shove, and there's a lot of back and forth with other players in there. After the first play, I warned subsequent players, hey, pay attention to this and that kind of thing. 1902 Melies, solid worker placement game. It's such a small box. It gives you this wonderful historical thematic gameplay with some really clever little bits and bobs in there. It was just a very satisfying play. Plays in about an hour once you know it. It's really smooth. I definitely recommend it if this is your kind of thing at all. I'm not sure how you can get it, but at the very least, check out the Board Game Geek store, because I think that's the easiest way for folks in North America to get it. And then obviously, if you're in Europe, you might have a better shot at it. So that's 1902 Melies from Lupin Games.
Oh, you've been talking about these, and they sound so good. I think I'm going to have to try and get my hands on it through the BGG store. But for us Canadians, just FYI, it is a little bit of a cost to ship from that store, but might be worth it. So I'll have to look into it.
You got one more for us, Mandy?
I do, and this one was my game of the convention. Yes, every year at this little convention that I go to, there's a game that I just play a lot, teach a lot, and everybody just enjoys it. And it's not a heavy one, but it's one that can just easily throw it, and everyone's like, yeah, let's play this, or oh, that looks nice, very pretty on the table, and that is Harmonies. So Harmonies is available. It is out now if it interests you. And it's designed by Johan Benvenuto, and art is by Maeva da Silva, and it's published by Libelud. And it's for 1 to 4 players. Plays in about 30 to 45 minutes, and I believe it retails for about $40 Canadian. So you can, in fact, get it if it interests you. And Harmonies is pretty straightforward. It's a game where you're building landscapes, and you're building these landscapes with tokens, and you're basically creating habitats for your animals. And you earn points based on the types of habitats that you're building, and also if you're able to complete some of the cards that are out and available for you to obtain and get those designs the same way on your board. So trying to really maximize the use of your landscapes, and we'll talk about why that's important. They believe to start over the game, or to give you an idea of how it ends, the game will end when we have no more pieces in the bag to pull out, and we'll talk about how that happens. Or potentially someone has 2 or fewer spaces on their board available, and I believe it's equal number of turns. So in Harmonies, it's really straightforward. You have a bag that are full of tokens of different colors. So there are different tokens that make up trees. So you have like a dirt colored one, which would be like the stump of the tree. You have green for the tops of the trees, buildings, which are red, stone or mountains, which are gray, fields, which are yellow, and then blue, which are water. So those are the tokens you're going to have in the bag, and you're trying to place these on your board. And you can place them really anywhere, but there are certain configurations that you're going to want to adhere to because they're going to gain you points. Water is the different one where depending what side of the board you're playing on, but water can be a continuous line or contiguous line of water, or potentially creating sections on the board with your water. Again, dependent on which side of the board you play on, that will score a little differently. So all of these tokens are in a bag, and we have a board in the middle of the table that has like 4 or 5 little areas where there are 3 of these tokens on each of those spots. On your turn, your mandatory action is to take the 3 tokens from a spot and then place those 3 tokens somewhere on your board. They don't have to be adjacent, but you can in fact stack certain ones. So if you're making a tree, you can have a tree that's just the dirt or the stump, but it's not going to get you any points. Just the treetop, that'll get you a point, or potentially having the stump and the top of a tree or 2 stumps in the top of a tree. These are ways to just increase your points. So those can be stacked. You have buildings which can be stacked, and then there are certain ones can only be stacked with certain tokens. It just makes sense. And some of them require you to be adjacent to other types. Like buildings need to be surrounded by 3 other types of terrain for it to score. Otherwise, you're getting a big 0. And that has happened to me. Again, water, if you're playing on the original side, having a long line of water together for each length of water you have, right? It's going to make more points. Fields, having 2 or more in an area gives you 5 points. Obviously, putting them all together doesn't work out for you. You want to try them, have them in 2 different areas. So once you've picked up your pieces, put them on the board either separately or stacked. Then you have a choice to pick up one of the kind of like a habitat cards, I'm going to call them. And those ones have patterns on the bottom that you can complete. So you take the card. Little cubes go on the top left-hand corner, which has different levels of scoring. Some of them may only have 2 cubes on it. Some may have 5. But every time you make that configuration on your board, you get to take off a cube and put it on one of your stacks based on what the picture is showing you, like where you would have to put it. So sometimes using a stack multiple times works, sometimes it doesn't. And you may have to create other habitats to maximize the use of that card. And you're limited to how many you can have at a time unfinished, but you're going to score for either the top finished part of the card. So if you finish the whole card, you'll score whatever's at the top. If not, whatever the highest you got to where the cube has been removed. Those are literally the actions of the game. And like I said, it ends when someone has 2 or fewer spaces on their board, or there are no more tokens to pull out to refill the main area. There's also an addition that we played where you can have another card that scores based on different types of configuration that are based on the card, but you have to match the original configuration on the card, and then at endgame scoring, you can score whatever it says you can score for, if it's just mountains or fields, but it does take up a slot, so you don't get as many cards throughout the game. And then the other side of the board is just a different way to score water, but everything else remains the same. This game, I played with designers, I played with people who were just chilling, having fun, and it was great. I am not good at this game at all. I rushed it without even knowing, because by placing everything very flat, not stacking, you're pushing the end of the game, right? Because you're taking up more space on the board, and one of the end game triggers is having 2 or fewer spaces. I'm like, why am I rushing the game? I'm not even doing that well. Back it up, but it's a little late. So, or you get so focused on doing something like, oh, wait, mountains have to be adjacent to each other to score? What? Oh, gosh, this mountain over here and this mountain over here, not scoring. You know what I mean? So easy rules, but it's like, oh, gosh, you really have to maximize your habitats and place them in areas that they're going to score, and try to make sure you have a habitat. Oh, this can score potentially 4 times, making sure, like I said, maximizing those habitats so you can score those cards fully, or you're just kind of leaving points on the table. I have to say, I played, I think we ended up playing a game with like John D. Clare, who a lot of you may know.
Designer, lovely person, yep.
Very lovely. And like a lot of other people, I think we played with another designer who did Cat Lady and a few others. And the reason why I mention it is because playing games with game designers is very different than playing with, other people, because they're looking at it from a different point of view.
Sure.
And so when they're sitting here and can have like a real appreciation for a game that's not theirs, and they're like, oh, like I really want to make this work, and they're getting excited or, struggling to do something, but in a good way, that actually made me very happy. I mean, us normal folk were happy too to, muddle and do our things, but it's just interesting to see the 2 different or 3 different types of people playing, and everybody was having the same amount of fun with it. Harmonies for me, terrible. I'm really bad at it. But can I tell you, every game I was like, okay, well, let me try something different. Maybe I'll try focusing on mountains. Maybe I'll try focusing on buildings in mountains. I just like the fact that I could switch it up and try something different and still have fun and still want to find different ways to play. And I do enjoy the fact that you can get points based on just your habitats, focusing mostly on the cards or doing a combination of the 2 and then mixing up to play in a different way based on the side of the board you played, or if you added that like little extra variant there to score different types of landscape based on that card that you receive in the beginning. So Harmonies for me was very well received. Love the strategy behind it. Love the different ways that you can score, and just an all-around like easy game to teach. Hard to master, but easy to teach, and it's approachable. And the colors on the box just make you go, they want to make you sing, like in Harmonies.
It does look very pretty.
It is. And I just think the art on it was very nice, even on the cards. And a lot of people noticed that. It almost looks like sticker art. Not sticker art, but art that has that white outlining around it. So it makes it kind of look like a sticker a little bit. But it went with the feeling and the vibe. And I thought it was very, very well done. So Harmonies for me was a hit, a win. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend for you to give it a whirl. So much fun. And just all around a good game.
Well, that goes right on my wish list. It looks really,
you will like this.
Nice.
This is definitely
That's awesome, and it's great. It's nice to hear that it was such a hit there. And I think it's an interesting point you make about game designers playing games. And game designers are just people, right? And there are awesome game designers, and there's dorky game designers, and everything in between, and that's totally fine. But I agree. I've because we go to conventions and because we've gotten to know the community a little bit. There are just sometimes they just think about things in a slightly different way, and it's highly, highly entertaining. So that is very cool. I love it. Well, Mandi, I think, as mentioned at the top of the show, normally we would be serving up dessert. I'm sorry. I'm already missing not having dessert at the end of the podcast. It doesn't feel quite right, but we're going to wrap it here. We're going to have another episode on time next in a couple, like a week and a half. But because we're late and all that good stuff and we got all that convention news, let's call it a show. As always, thank you, everybody, for joining us and for being graceful while we were a little bit late. I believe we're going to be doing surprise brain burners for Pi next episode. And we'll be, looking for your chiming in on that as well. If you want to make any suggestions or make any comments, ask any questions about all the new cool games that Mandi was looking at, you can email us at saltandsassgames@gmail.com or chime in on our Board Game Geek Guild. That's Guild 4131 on BoardGameGeek.com.
Or you can find us on the socials. Yes, normally this is where I'd say if you're watching us, but, well, that's not happening this week. So if you want to find us on the socials, you can find us, on the YouTube or Twitch at Salt and Sass Games. That's Salt and Sass Games. We're also on the Twitter. Yes, I said Twitter, at Salt and Sass Games. So that's Salt and Sass Games. You can find me on all the socials, Instagram, Blue Sky, all the things at 613 Mandi. That's Mandi with an I. And what about you, Suzanne?
And you can find me on the socials at 425 Suzanne. Folks, it is a pleasure and privilege to be here podcasting with you. And thank you so much for letting us be part of your extended gaming family and for being part of ours. It never gets old, Mandi. It never gets old being here talking about games and meeting people and talking to people online or sometimes in person at conventions. We appreciate you so very, very much. We will be back hopefully on time next episode with more games that we've been playing. Until then, we hope that you are having a wonderful spring. Take care of yourselves, stay hydrated, and play a lot of games. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. This episode was sponsored by Druid City Games, where player experience comes first. Check out all of their great games at druidcitygames.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, please check us out on coffee.com/Salt and Sass Games. Thank you for your support. Salt and Sass is produced with love by Suzanne and Mandi, and we'll be back next episode with more salt, more sass, and more games.